I think each player has their specific sets. Every single player here is a fighter.
Have you noticed how certain athletes seem to transform an entire tournament the moment they arrive? It doesn't always happen because they're the highest-ranked player or the biggest champion. Sometimes it's because they bring an energy that no one expected. That is exactly what has been happening with Alex Eala in Washington. Before a single match had even started, something unusual was already taking place around the DC Open, and tournament organizers couldn't ignore it anymore. When people think about a WTA event, they usually expect most of the attention to revolve around Grand Slam champions or world #1 players. This tournament was supposed to be no different. Instead, the spotlight unexpectedly shifted toward a 20-year-old Filipina who had only recently broken into the world's top 30. The excitement surrounding Alex Eala wasn't created by social media hype alone. It was visible everywhere around the tournament grounds. Fans wearing Philippine colors gathered around practice courts long before official matches began. Some traveled hundreds of miles just to watch her hit a few practice balls. Others patiently waited with flags, hoping for an autograph or a quick photo. Tournament officials immediately realized this wasn't an ordinary fan following. During a media appearance, DC Open chairman Mark Ein openly admitted that nearly every question coming into the tournament office revolved around one player: Alex Eala. According to him, fans constantly wanted to know when she would play, where she would practice, and how they could watch her matches. At first, he estimated that around 80% of ticket inquiries were connected to Eala. Then he stopped himself and corrected the number, saying it was virtually every request. That statement surprised many people across the tennis world. After all, Washington featured several established stars with years of success at the highest level. Yet the player creating the biggest buzz wasn't a multiple-time Grand Slam champion. It was the young Filipina whose career continues to rise at remarkable speed. The excitement became obvious even before tournament play officially began. During one practice session, Alex walked onto an outside court to begin warming up. Right beside her, another practice session featured Naomi Osaka, one of the biggest names in modern women's tennis and a 4-time Grand Slam champion. Normally, fans would naturally crowd around Osaka. Instead, many found themselves pressed against the fence surrounding Alex Eala's court. Phones were raised into the air. Philippine flags waved proudly from every direction. People cheered after ordinary practice rallies as though they were watching championship points. It was a powerful reminder that Alex's popularity has grown far beyond simple curiosity. She has become a genuine attraction. Meanwhile, another interesting storyline was developing elsewhere. World #1, Aryna Sabalenka, had decided to skip Washington, choosing instead to prepare for the upcoming tournaments later in the North American hardcourt swing. Her decision made complete sense from a scheduling standpoint, but it also meant the tournament unexpectedly found its biggest attraction somewhere else. As Alex continued drawing larger crowds, conversations throughout the tennis community slowly began changing. People were no longer asking whether she had potential. They were asking whether she had become one of the biggest draws on the entire WTA tour. That question became even louder after her opening round match. Standing across the net was an Olympic gold medalist with years of experience competing against the world's best players. It was exactly the type of challenge capable of ending a young player's momentum before it truly began. The opening set appeared to follow that script. Alex fought hard but eventually dropped the set, allowing her experienced opponent to move one step closer to victory. For many players, losing the opening set against an established champion creates frustration and uncertainty. Alex responded differently. She remained calm. She trusted her game. Most importantly, she refused to panic. Slowly, point by point, she began changing the rhythm of the match. Her confidence returned, her movement became sharper, and suddenly the pressure shifted completely onto her opponent. Then came one of the most remarkable stretches of tennis anyone had seen that week. Alex won 7 consecutive games. The crowd sensed history unfolding before their eyes, growing louder with every point she captured. Momentum completely belonged to the young Filipina, and by the end of the match she had completed another incredible comeback victory that immediately became one of the biggest talking points of the tournament. The final score told only part of the story. What mattered even more was how she achieved it. She defeated one of the most accomplished players in the draw not by overwhelming power alone, but through resilience, patience, and remarkable mental strength. That performance only added fuel to the excitement already surrounding her. Suddenly, the crowds around her practice sessions made perfect sense. The long lines for tickets made perfect sense. Every conversation inside the tournament grounds seemed to lead back to the same player. Alex Eala had arrived in Washington as one of the fastest rising stars in tennis. Within just a few days, she had become the center of the entire tournament. The conversation around Alex Eala continued growing after that remarkable comeback, but what happened next made the story even bigger. Fans were celebrating the victory, analysts were discussing her rapid improvement, and suddenly people started comparing her popularity with some of the biggest names in women's tennis. That comparison wasn't coming from passionate Filipino supporters alone. Former ATP professionals and respected tennis analysts began noticing exactly what tournament organizers had already seen. They pointed out that every time Alex walked around the grounds, crowds seemed to follow. Practice courts became packed long before she arrived. Spectators lined the fences just to watch her warm up. Even people who had originally come to watch other stars found themselves stopping to see what the excitement around Alex Eala was all about. That kind of attention is rare. Usually, only Grand Slam champions attract those kinds of crowds during practice sessions. Yet Alex was creating that atmosphere despite still being early in her professional career. The numbers outside the court told a similar story. Her social media following continued growing rapidly, while every new victory attracted thousands of additional supporters from around the world. More importantly, those fans weren't simply following her account. They were actively engaging with every post, every interview, and every highlight video. For sponsors and tournament organizers, that level of engagement is incredibly valuable. It shows that people aren't just interested in a player's ranking. They're emotionally invested in the journey. That emotional connection is becoming one of Alex's greatest strengths. Many rising stars achieve impressive rankings, but very few manage to inspire an entire nation while doing it. Every time Alex steps onto the court, millions of Filipinos feel like they're sharing the moment with her. That support has become impossible to ignore. Several tennis commentators even suggested that Alex has become one of the fastest-growing attractions on the entire WTA tour. They weren't talking only about her tennis. They were talking about her impact, her personality, her humility, and the excitement she creates every time she competes. One respected former professional even compared her growing popularity to some of the biggest breakthrough stars tennis has seen in recent years. According to him, Alex has developed the rare ability to attract fans regardless of rankings because people genuinely enjoy watching her compete. That may be one of the biggest compliments any young player can receive. It also reflects how quickly perceptions have changed. Only a short time ago, Alex was viewed as a promising junior making the difficult transition to professional tennis. Today, she is becoming one of the faces many tournaments hope to feature. Her success also represents something much larger than individual achievements. For years, Southeast Asia has searched for a tennis superstar capable of inspiring an entirely new generation of players. Alex Eala is beginning to fill that role. Every victory introduces tennis to new audiences. Every milestone creates fresh excitement. Every tournament expands her fan base even further. That growth benefits not only Alex but the entire sport. Tournament directors understand that new markets are essential for tennis to continue expanding globally. Whenever a player captures the imagination of millions of new fans, the entire tour benefits from increased attention. Alex appears to be doing exactly that. Of course, none of this guarantees future victories. Professional tennis changes quickly. Every match presents new challenges. Every opponent studies previous performances and searches for weaknesses. That is exactly why Alex refuses to become distracted by praise. Instead of celebrating headlines, she continues focusing on improvement. She understands that one successful tournament means very little without consistency. The next challenge waiting for her would provide another opportunity to prove how far she has come. Standing on the opposite side of the net would be another talented player with experience, confidence, and every reason to believe she could stop Alex's remarkable run. For Alex, it wasn't simply about winning another match. It was about showing that her recent success was becoming the new standard rather than a temporary hot streak. Every victory builds confidence. Every challenge builds experience. And every tournament brings her one step closer to becoming exactly the player so many people now believe she can be. As Washington continued buzzing with excitement, one thing had become perfectly clear. Alex Eala was no longer just participating in the tournament. She had become its biggest story.